Moses stood before the Israelites. They were on the cusp of a new era, a defining moment in their history. He reminded them of God's promise. He promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob a land flowing with milk and honey. Now that promise was about to be fulfilled. The land was ready, prepared by God's own hand. Moses, with unwavering faith, declared God's faithfulness. He recounted their miraculous deliverance from Egypt. He reminded them of the Red Sea parting and the manna that sustained them in the desert. God had been faithful every step of the way. He emphasized that the battles they'd faced were not their own. The Lord had fought for them. He had secured victory time and time again. This same God, the God of miracles, was ready to lead them into Canaan. This wasn't just about inheriting land. This was about stepping into God's blessing. It was about living in a place of abundance and favor, a place where their generations would thrive. Moses knew that a journey of this magnitude required structure and leadership. He couldn't lead them into the promised land alone. He needed to empower others to share the responsibility. Under God's direction, Moses appointed a leader from each of the 12 tribes. These leaders would guide their tribes, settle disputes, and ensure order as they moved forward. This appointment wasn't just about delegation, it was about empowering others. Moses recognized the importance of raising up leaders. He was equipping them to carry the mantle of leadership for generations to come. This act solidified the importance of unity and teamwork. Each tribe, while unique, was part of a larger whole. It was a powerful reminder that they were stronger together, unified under God's leadership. As the Israelites stood on the edge of the promised land, fear gripped their hearts. They sent spies to scout out the land. The spies returned with tales of fortified cities and giants. Instead of remembering God's faithfulness, they focused on the obstacles. Their faith wavered. They doubted God's power to deliver them. They allowed fear to overshadow the promises. Their refusal to trust God had dire consequences. God declared that they would wander in the wilderness for 40 years. An entire generation consumed by their lack of faith would not see the promised land. This serves as a stark reminder of the devastating power of fear. It can paralyze us, causing us to miss out on the blessings God has in store. It can blind us to the reality of God's power and faithfulness. The 40 years in the wilderness, though a consequence of disobedience, was not wasted time. God used this period to refine and prepare his people for the land he had promised. He provided for them miraculously. He sustained them with manna from heaven and water from a rock. He never abandoned them. He used their time in the wilderness to draw them closer to himself. Through trials and challenges, they learned to rely on him. They discovered the importance of obedience. They witnessed his power and provision in remarkable ways. This wilderness journey, though difficult, transformed them. It stripped away their self-reliance. It molded them into a people who were more dependent on God, prepared to walk in his promises. Section 5. Divine Intervention. Victories against Sihon and Og. As they emerged from the wilderness, ready to claim their inheritance, they faced opposition. Two powerful kings, Sihon and Og, stood in their way. Despite their fear, the Israelites, empowered by their wilderness experience, chose to trust God. They went to battle, not in their own strength, but with the assurance of God's presence. Just as he had promised, God fought for them. He granted them decisive victories. He demonstrated his power over their enemies. He reaffirmed his commitment to fulfilling his promises. These victories were more than military conquests. They were powerful reminders that God is faithful to his word. They served as a testament to the power of obedience and trust in the face of adversity. Section 6. A legacy passed on. The appointment of Joshua. As Moses neared the end of his life, God instructed him to appoint a successor. This new leader would guide the Israelites into the promised land. Moses chose Joshua, a man who had proven himself faithful and courageous. He had witnessed God's power firsthand. He was filled with the spirit of wisdom and understanding. This transition of leadership was significant. It demonstrated God's faithfulness in raising up new leaders for every season. It ensured the continuity of his plan for his people. Joshua, empowered by God and emboldened by Moses' blessing, stood ready to lead the Israelites into their destiny. The torch of leadership had been passed. A new era was about to begin. Section 7. Remember the journey, embrace the promise. Moses, in his final address, urged the Israelites to remember their journey. He reminded them of God's faithfulness through every trial, every victory, every challenge. He emphasized the importance of remembering God's law. He urged them to teach their children about his faithfulness, to pass down the stories of his miracles from generation to generation. He wanted them to understand that their inheritance wasn't just about physical land. It was about living in a covenant relationship with God, experiencing his blessings in every area of their lives. Remembering their journey would strengthen their faith. It would remind them that God was with them, that he would never leave them nor forsake them. It would empower them to face the future with confidence and hope. Section 8. Obedience, the pathway to blessing. Moses, with a heart filled with love for his people, left them with a powerful message. Obedience to God was the key to experiencing the fullness of his blessings. He reminded them that God's commands were not burdensome. They were given out of love, designed to protect them and lead them into a life of abundance. He urged them to choose obedience over compromise, to walk in integrity and righteousness. He knew that their obedience would determine the course of their future, the legacy they would leave behind. His words echoed with timeless truth. When we obey God, we position ourselves for his favor. We open the door to his blessings. We walk in the fullness of his plan for our lives. Section 9. Our Canaan awaits. Stepping into God's promises. The story of the Israelites' journey to Canaan holds powerful lessons for us today. It reminds us that God has a plan for our lives, a promised land prepared for each one of us. Just like the Israelites, we may face obstacles and challenges. We may encounter giants and fortified cities, but we must remember that God is faithful. He will fight for us. He will provide for us. Our part is to trust him, to obey his word, and to walk in faith, knowing that he is leading us to our own promised land. Let's not allow fear or doubt to hold us back. Our Canaan awaits. Let us be people of faith and courage, ready to step into the fullness of God's promises for our lives.